The U.S. Department of Justice is preparing for a high-level meeting with convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is expected to personally interview Maxwell at her U.S. federal prison, 3 years after she was sentenced to 20 years for her role in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking network. The renewed interest follows political pressure across the spectrum. MAGA supporters and Democrats have both demanded further transparency in the Epstein case, amid public outcry and accusations of an ongoing cover-up. The Department of Justice recently reversed its position after initially refusing to release further evidence. The change came after direct intervention from President Donald Trump, who previously suggested the Epstein case had been suppressed to protect powerful individuals. Blanche has now confirmed that the DOJ will hear what Maxwell has to say, if she is willing to cooperate. Maxwell was arrested on July 2, 2020 at a secluded property in New Hampshire. The FBI tracked her location using mobile data before taking her into custody. She was charged with 6 counts relating to the trafficking and abuse of underage girls between 1994 and 1997. During her 2021 trial, 4 women testified that Maxwell had groomed them as teenagers for Epstein, with some alleging that Maxwell was also directly involved in the abuse. Victims reported that Maxwell recruited vulnerable girls from massage parlors, school campuses, and community spaces, luring them with promises of financial and educational support. The federal court proceedings revealed a disturbing pattern of manipulation, targeting underprivileged or emotionally neglected girls, some as young as 14. Maxwell was found guilty on 5 federal counts, including sex trafficking of a minor, conspiracy, and transportation of a minor for illegal sexual activity. Born on December 24, 1961, Ghislaine Maxwell was the youngest daughter of British publishing mogul Robert Maxwell. Raised at Headington Hill Hall, she grew up surrounded by wealth, influence, and high society. She graduated from Oxford University and was a fixture in elite circles, often photographed with royals and politicians. Despite the privilege, Maxwell's childhood was marred by emotional neglect and abuse. Her father was a Holocaust survivor-turned-media tycoon and British MP, who reportedly mistreated his children, both verbally and physically. Nevertheless, Ghislaine was considered his favorite. His luxury yacht was named Lady Ghislaine in her honor. Robert Maxwell died under mysterious circumstances in 1991, after falling from the same yacht. His death sparked a financial scandal, as he was later revealed to have embezzled hundreds of millions from his company's pension funds. Ghislaine defended her father vigorously and was left financially compromised by the fallout. Following her father's death, Maxwell relocated to New York. Soon after, she became closely associated with financier Jeffrey Epstein. Their partnership extended beyond romance. She became a central figure in managing Epstein's properties, social networks, and, ultimately, his sex trafficking operation. Photographed with figures like Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Prince Andrew, Maxwell used her social status to bring credibility and protection to Epstein. Prosecutors described her as the operational head of Epstein's illicit empire, managing staff, scheduling meetings, and recruiting underage victims. According to court testimonies, Maxwell was responsible for a structured grooming process. Victims reported being introduced under the guise of scholarships or massage training. The abuse would typically begin with seemingly innocuous massages, escalating into sexual exploitation. Maxwell would often instruct the victims and, in some cases, was present during the assaults. One of Epstein's accusers, Annie Farmer, testified that at the age of 16, she was lured to Epstein's ranch with offers of academic mentorship and cultural outings. She recounted that Maxwell initially won her trust before subjecting her to inappropriate physical contact and exposure to Epstein. Other victims described Maxwell as both a recruiter and an enabler. She allegedly offered financial incentives for victims to bring friends into Epstein's orbit and instructed girls on how to behave to satisfy him. Testimonies painted Maxwell as a figure who used her sophistication and influence to normalize and facilitate repeated abuse. During her trial, Maxwell did not take the stand in her defense. Her legal team argued that the accuser's memories had been distorted over time and influenced by financial motives linked to civil litigation. Despite these claims, the jury found her guilty, concluding that she had played an essential and knowing role in the exploitation of minors. Her sentencing judge called her crimes heinous and predatory. With public and political demands for further accountability growing, the DOJ hopes Maxwell may now identify other individuals involved in Epstein's network. However, it remains uncertain whether she will provide meaningful information. Her lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, has stated that discussions with the government are ongoing and that Maxwell will always testify truthfully. However, in past depositions, she has denied knowing about Epstein's abuse and labeled accusers as dishonest. Maxwell has been publicly linked to several prominent figures through photographs and witness claims. Yet, no additional indictments have been made since her conviction. The Epstein case continues to grip public attention due to its links with global elites, persistent conspiracy theories, and perceived failures of the justice system. The Justice Department recently asked a federal judge to unseal grand jury transcripts related to the original indictments of Epstein and Maxwell. Officials insist that, so far, they have found no basis to charge anyone else. Nonetheless, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has reiterated that Maxwell remains incarcerated in a federal prison in the United States. The upcoming meeting with DOJ officials may signal a shift in the department's approach, driven by both political pressure and continued public demand for justice. Whether Maxwell will provide information that implicates others or maintain her previous denials remains to be seen. But what is clear is that the Epstein saga is far from over.